I wanted to shoot a film for a while about sort of woodworking tools and chisels and things like that. So all of these chisels that I have here were all bought second hand and were in various sort of stages of repair. So, for instance, some of these are incredibly old and have got makers' names on them, which are, most of these are Sheffield made, so they're all made in the north of England. And this particular one is a very lovely. It says Sheffield. It says Moorhood, Sheffield, made in England. And it's actually got, you can't see it I'm afraid, this lighting in my camera phone are not that good. That's actually like a little palm tree just at the beginning of the maker's name there. But what I did on that particular one is I put a new handle on it, and quite a few of these, what's quite common with these is that you will find the ends of the chisels have been very badly treated, so they actually get cracked and damaged where people have maybe not used a proper mallet, they've used a hammer and the wood has split, or they've been a bit sort of rough with the tools and then they've actually damaged them. So again, these are all Sheffield made. That's again's got the maker's mark. You can't really see it there, but it's actually made in Sheffield. So all of these, there's a nice gouge there, and that one is made by Stormont. It says Stormont, and it's got a date on it. I don't know if you can see that. It's got an arrow just there, and it says 1941. So some of these are really quite old, and this one is a Stanley, and I believe that's probably from about the 70s. But a lot of these, what I've done is I've refurbed them and sanded the handles down. I've used all of these and I've sharpened them. That particular one, do we have a make on there? Sheffield again, and that one is made by a company called Woodcock. So these are beautiful, and that one is a Sorby. Now if you look up Sorby tools and it says cast steel, they are very, very expensive to buy, but I've probably bought all of these. Hello, I've got a friend. I've got two friends today. That's Minnie. That's Minnie. Hello, Mins. These are probably all bought for maybe £2, £3, £4 or whatever each. Not very much at all. And I've kind of refurbed them and I've put handles on them. Sometimes hello, Minnie. Sometimes I buy handles for these tools, and what I do is I keep them by for things like chisels and files. Minnie, this is not your film, okay? This is not your film. You're a little bugger, aren't you? So Minnie's decided to get in on the action. So I just thought I'd show those, and it's really worth looking around to try and get lots of these beautiful old tools, because the ends can be quite damaged, and what I do is I regrind them and then I sharpen them, and then you've got very, very usable tools. And as you saw by that one there with the date 1941, some of these I don't know what the ages are, but they could be 40, 50 years, 60 years old even, some of them, and they're just amazing woodworking tools. But with a bit of care and a bit of looking after, they will live on and they'll be fully usable. But what I really wanted to show, if Minnie would let me, is I've been by the old junk shop today, and I am actually supposed to be, Minnie, I'm actually supposed to be getting rid of tools, but I just wanted to show all of these. So there is a little hide mallet. I don't know if you can see that. The actual pins that hold the hide there, it's actually made from a piece of rolled hide. I don't know if that's cowhide. I think it's normally cowhide they use for these. And then you've got a little shaft in the middle of that. Now that's a perfect kind of hammer for hammering brass, or probably even silver. If you were a jeweler or making things and is incredibly small and very delicate. I paid £1 for this. This is probably donkey's years old, and I will renovate that, and I will sand and buff the end, and I will make some pins, and I'll repin that hide, and that will be a really nice little working hammer. I can't believe this, Minnie. And here is a great big wooden mallet, which, as you can see on there, it says £3. So that head on that mallet is a great big lump of boxwood on a beautiful shaft. I know it looks a bit rough and ready now, but by the time I've cleaned that up, sanded that, rubbed that with some linseed oil, that is going to be a wonderful, you know, working mallet. Minnie, come on. And what else did I get? I bought a cast iron hammerhead. I couldn't see a maker's mark on here. It doesn't mean there isn't one. With a lot of these old tools, I try not to take the patina off them, simply because, you know, on the face of the hammer here, sometimes you'll find that the heads of the face of the hammer will be damaged. And what I will do is I will work on that, and I will, you know, sand that and buff that to get that into a good shape. But looking at this, it's old. It's quite heavy. I'd say that's probably, you know, it's maybe £1 in weight, £1.50, perhaps £1.25. But that's a good little hammer. And then if Minnie will let me get into this bag, Minnie, what are you doing? Come on, Mills. I managed to get a hickory hammer shaft. This was £2, and it's got some maker's marks on there. Now, I looked at these, and I don't know if you can see, but just here there is like a kind of an arrowhead. Now that was often put on to military issue tools, equipment and things like that. That was a kind of mark that they put on there. But if you look at that, that is a beautiful unused hickory handle. Again, that could be quite old. I mean, who knows? I could probably trace those numbers and find out how old that is. But if you look at the end of this, I'm thinking that is going to be a perfect match for that hammer. So I've effectively got myself a brand new claw hammer, but for a fraction of the cost. That was £1, that head, and that cost me £2 for that shaft. And then also in here is another hickory shaft. This one again has got a great big long specification on here. Now if I know anything, and you've got that arrowhead mark on there, now that's it, that's got 83. That's probably the year. I could be wrong, someone probably who knows more than me will know, but look at all these code designations. This has every kind of hallmark of being a military issue piece of kit. That again was £2 for that shaft. So I've effectively got two hammer shafts there, which are both got this square sort of shank on them, which will fit perfectly that. I will make a hardwood wedge to go in the top. I've done a lot of refurbing of hammers and things like that, and then I will, you know, probably just lightly sand these. If there's any kind of splinters or rough parts on here, I'll very lightly sand those. I won't get rid of the designation because I quite like that on there. And then what I'll do is I'll treat these with linseed oil is what I normally used. If I can just move that bag, Minnie, thank you. This is Minnie, and that is Mookie. Hi Mooks. So all of those were less than £9. The two mallets, the hammerhead and the shaft. So I just thought I'd show those, and I'll talk again soon.